motion of the waters. I gathered several spikes when only just opened, but the tiresome things fell to pieces directly they became dry. Next summer I will make another attempt at preserving them, and it may be with better success. The low shore of the lake is a complete shrubbery. We have a very pretty St. John's wort, with handsome yellow flowers. The white and pink spiral frutex also abounds with some exquisite upright honeysuckles, shrubby plants about 3 feet in height. The blossoms grow in pairs or by fours, and hang beneath the light green leaves, elegant trumpet shaped flowers of a delicate greenish white, which are succeeded by ruby coloured berries. On gathering a branch of this plant you cannot but be struck with the elegant arrangement of the flowers along the under part of the stalks. The two blossoms are connected at the nectary of each in a singular manner. The Americans call this honeysuckle twin flower. I have seen some of the flowers of this plant pale pink. On the whole, it is one of the most ornamental shrubs we have. I transplanted some young trees into my garden last spring. They promise to live and do well. I do not find any description of this shrub in Pursh's Flora, but know it to be a species of honeysuckle, from the class and order, the shape and colour of the leaves, the stalks, the trumpet shaped blossoms, and the fruit all bearing a resemblance to our honeysuckles in some degree. There is a tall upright bush bearing large yellow trumpet shaped flowers, springing from the extremity of its branches. The involucrum forms a boat shaped cup that encircles the flowers from which they seem to spring, something after the manner of the scarlet trumpet honeysuckle. The leaves and blossoms of this plant are coarse, and by no means to compare to the former. We have a great variety of curious orchises, some brown and yellow, others pale flesh coloured, striped with crimson. There is one species grows to the height of 2 feet, bearing long spikes of pale purple flowers, a white one with most fragrant smell, and a delicious pink one with round head of blossoms, finely fringed like the water pinks that grow in our marshes. This is a very pretty flower, and grows in the beaver meadows. Last autumn I observed in the pine wood near us a very curious plant. It came up with naked brown stems, branching off like some miniature tree. The stalks of this plant were brown, slightly freckled, and beset with little knobs. I watched the progress of maturity in this strange plant with some degree of interest. Towards the latter end of October, the little knobs, which consisted of two angular hard cases, not unlike, when fully open, to a boat in shape, burst asunder and displayed a pale straw coloured chaffy substance that resembled fine sawdust. These must have been the anthers, but they bore more resemblance to seeds. This singular flower would have borne examination with a microscope. One peculiarity that I observed was, that on pulling up a plant with its roots, I found the blossoms open underground, springing up from the lowest part of the flower stems, and just as far advanced to maturity as those that grew on the upper stalks, excepting that they were somewhat blanched from being covered up from the air. I can find no description of this plant, nor any person but myself seems to have taken notice of it. The specimen I had, on being dried, became so brittle that it fell to pieces. I have promised to collect some of the most singular of our native flowers for one of the professors of botany in the Edinburgh University. We have a very handsome plant that bears the closest affinity to our potatoe in its floral construction. It grows to the height of 2 or 3 feet in favourable situations, and sends up many branches. The blossoms are large, purely white, freckled near the bottom of the corolla, with brownish yellow spots. The corolla is undivided. This is evidently the same plant as the cultivated potatoe, though it does not appear to form apples at the root. The fruit is very handsome, egg shaped, of a beautiful apricot colour when ripe, and of a shining tempting appearance. The smell, however, betrays its poisonous nature. On opening one of the fruits you find it consists of a soft pulp filled with shining black seeds. The plant continues in blossom from June till the first frosts wither the leaves. It is far less coarse than the potato. The flower, when full blown, is about the size of a half crown, and quite flat. I think it is what you call salver shaped. It delights in light loamy soil, growing on the upturned roots of fallen trees, where the ground is inclined to be sandy. I have never seen this plant elsewhere than on our own fallow. The hepatica is the first flower of the Canadian spring. It gladdens us with its tints of azure, pink, and white, early in April, soon after the snows have melted from the earth. The Canadians call it snow flower, from its coming so soon after the snow disappears. We see its gay tufts of flowers in the open clearings and the deep recesses of the forests. Its leaves are also an enduring ornament through the open months of the year. You see them on every grassy mound and mossy root. The shades of blue are very various and delicate, the white anthers forming a lovely contrast with the blue petals. The wood cress, or as it is called by some, ginger cress, is a pretty white cruciform flower. It is highly aromatic in flavour. The root is white and fleshy, having the pungency of horseradish. The leaves are of a sad green, sharply notched and divided in three lobes. The leaves of some of them are slightly variegated. The plant delights in rich moist vegetable mould, especially on low and slightly swampy ground. The flower stalk is sometimes naked, sometimes leafed, and is crowned with a loose spike of whitish cruciform flowers. There is a cress that grows in pretty green tufts at the bottom of the waters in the creeks and small rivulets. It is more delicate and agreeable in flavour than any of the land cresses. The leaves are of a pale tender green, winged and slender. The plant looks like a green cushion at the bottom of the water. The flowers are yellow, cruciform, and insignificant. It makes a very acceptable salad in early spring, and at the fall of the year. There are also several species of land cress, and plants resembling some of the cabbage tribes, that might be used as spring vegetables. There are several species of spinach, one known here by the name of lamb's quarter, that grows in great profusion about our garden, and in rich soil rises to 2 feet, and is very luxuriant in its foliage. The leaves are covered with a white rough powder. The top shoots and tender parts of this vegetable are boiled with pork, and, in place of a more delicate potherb, is very useful. Then we have the Indian turnip. This is a very handsome arum, the root of which resembles the cassava, I am told, when boiled. The leaves of this arum are handsome, slightly tinged with purple. The spathe is of a lively green, striped with purple. The Indians use the root as a medicine, and also as an esculent. It is often eaten by the settlers as a vegetable, but I have never tasted it myself. Pursh calls this species arum atropurpureum. I must not pass over one of our greatest ornaments, the strawberry blight, strawberry bearing spinach, or Indian strawberry, as it is variously named. This singular plant throws out many branches from one stem. These are garnished with handsome leaves, resembling in appearance our long leaved garden spinach. The finest of this plant is of a bright crimson, pulpy like the strawberry, and containing a number of purple seeds, partially embedded in the surface, after the same manner as the strawberry. The fruit grows close to the stalk, completely surrounding it, and forming a long spike of the richest crimson berries. I have gathered branches a foot in length, closely covered with the beautiful looking fruit, and have regretted that it was so insipid in its flavour as to make it uneatable. On the banks of creeks and in rich ground it grows most luxuriantly, one root sending up 20 or 30 branches, drooping with the weight of their magnificent burden. As the middle and superior stems ripen and decay, the lateral ones come on, presenting a constant succession of fruit from July till the frosts nip them off in September. The Indians use the juice of this plant as a dye, and are said to eat the berries. It is often made use of as a substitute for red ink, but it is liable to fade unless mingled with alum. A friend of mine told me she has been induced to cross a letter she was sending to a relative in England with this strawberry ink, but not having taken